Ford summer race at Kyalami. We've had great racing here today, and we've got those mighty Wesbank saloons lined up for you at the moment. But there's been drama already. Tony Viana, one of the favourites, he won down in Cape Town, has had drama. His car was leaking oil, and we've got Graham Cooper down in the pits ready to talk to Tony Viana.
Well, on the start-finish line, drama has started already. What you're looking at is the oil from the Tony Viana car. And I'm looking across at the pits right now, and Tony Viana's car has started. He's coming out of the pits, and he's going to start from the pit lane by the looks of it. Will be the man on pole position, Graham Duxbury, and I'm sure you can hear the car of Tony Viana winding out the pit lane. You guys had a bit of turbo problems in the last event. Obviously, a lot of homework was done before this event. Graham, what is your view on this race?
Yeah, well, we have a much bigger turbo now, and obviously the car is competitive, and it's hopefully everything holds together. Thank you.
Graham, go well. So it's back to Roger and Hendrik.
Thanks very much indeed, Graham. Well, there they are lined up, as you've just heard. Now, Graham Duxbury in the Sasol Ford is on pole position. That's how close it is. Sorrel van der Merwe in the Audi 500 Turbo right alongside him. You see number 6 on the far side of the road. And that mighty Sabat Caltex Opel V8 record of Willie Hepburn is right behind them. Tony Viana on his way around the circuit will have to hurry if he's going to take up his position on the grid. And then that's Tony's in the Winfield BMW, and Ben Morgenrud in the Autofit Mazda. Always in the picture, always doing well is Ben Morgenrud. And the championship at stake here this afternoon, Johan could see, is 0.01 of a second slower than Ivor Roche. He needs to beat Ivor Roche if he's going to win this championship here this afternoon, provided that Mike Shapiro wins his 1300cc class. So they're all lined up. We're just waiting now for Tony Viana. It's an interesting grid. Leading the, as I say, Class B is Graham Duxbury leading A. B is Ivor Roche leading Johan could see in the Gearmax Skyline. Dave Repsol is the turn-up for the books in the Toyotas, leading Peter Lance. So it's all changing as we go into this final race of the season. There's Tony Viana coming onto the grid. That must be a record lap getting round here. Then in Class D, we've got George Bezaden in the BP Nissan. Centra is leading his class ahead of the Frams here of Pat Duckham, and Nico van Rensburg back in racing in his ex-Bezaden Nissan X. Class E, Johan Kranlig, the champion. Are they allowing him through? They're checking underneath on the motor car. The thumbs up from the clerk of the course for this. He can race by the look of it. They're giving him the go-ahead, or what are they going to tell him? They're looking under the motor car to see. They're not going to allow it to start if it's leaking oil. They'll have to do some desperate work. They're looking under the motor car. If there's oil under the motor car, now it's going out. That Winfield BMW, so they didn't push it too far. Probably a good thing. So Tony's on the second row there. You can see Ivor Roche in that green car if you've got colour on the far side. Some other good positions there. Brian Bezaden's back in racing in his Skyline number 28. He hasn't been racing for a while in the AMC Motor Engineering. And we've got a field here of over 40 motor cars lined up. This is going to be the warm-up lap where they get their tyres warmed up. They've got these big slick tyres. Willie Hepburn in that Saban Opel has the biggest set of rubber that's ever been fitted to a saloon car. Viana has pulled off. There it is. So the drama continues. That's unhappiness. A great pity for him, because Tony is one of the triers in the Wesbank modified saloon car racing. After a great win in Cape Town, that is really a great pity. They never give up trying, as you saw now. 5 minutes ago it was pouring oil out. They tried to repair it, but to no avail. So he'll have to park that in his pit. So here they are. There's the Sasol Ford. Is all set to go. It's on pole position. It's got a loss. It's got a new turbo, as you heard Graham Duxbury say. Bernie Mariner, the team manager, was over to America, and he's brought back a turbocharger that's far more suitable. Anyway, we've got David Cooper, a well-known name in motor racing, in 9-hour racing. He's come out to visit the country, and Graham Cooper's got him down in the pits to talk to him.
Well, for those of you that have been involved with motorsport for so many years, you will remember the man standing next to me, David Piper, the legendary man behind the wheels of those big Ferraris in the good old 9-hour days. Obviously, you know the old circuit very, very well. What are your impressions on our new circuit here in South Africa?
Well, I think it's fantastic. It compares very with anything I've seen anywhere else in the world. It's a far cry from the old Kyalami days of the 60s, but Kyalami was my favorite circuit, and I think that this is a very good sort of replacement, as it had to be this way. And I'm looking forward to coming here and racing with our historic or post-historic Ferraris like we did 18 months ago. There's a book written about South African motor racing called Sun on the Grid, and it's very appropriate today because there's a track temperature of 50, it's very hot, and there's a beautiful grid of cars, and there's been a little bit of drama just before the start, and I'm looking forward to a very interesting race.
We hope you enjoy your stay in South Africa, and also we look forward to seeing you out here with one of your old Ferraris in the future.
Thank you very much, Graham.
Thank you, David.
Baie dankie Graham Cooper onder in die Kuipe. Hy gaan ook vir ons deur die loop van die wedren. Indien daar enige insidente is, vinnig die agtergrond daartoe skets en kyk of hy met van die renjaars kan gesels. Maar dit is byna aan die einde van die opwarmingsronde. Dit is die motors wat stadig besig is om die baan te beweeg en dan hulle posisies in te beweeg. Sodra hierdie voorblokmotor van die baan aftrek, dan gaan die wegspring ligter rooi wees en sodra dit groen slaan, dan gaan die petrolpedaal, die versneller daar in die hoek ingedruk word van al hierdie motors en dit is die groot kanonne van Suid-Afrikaanse motorsport. Hulle gaan met 'n uitslike gebrul hier afjaag in die hoofpouvak. Ons hou dop, die motors is nou hier in die begin van die pouvak. Hulle kom verby, ons wag net vir die ligte om groen te raak. Is groen en is Duxbury wat in die Ford Sapphire verbytrek by Sarel van der Merwe. Duxbury wat vinnigste was in die oefenronde is Duxbury van der Merwe en daarna is dit Willie Hepburn en na die uitslike V8 Opel rekord deur die eerste draai, Gans draai af in die rigting van geel bladsy draaie en u kan hoor dat hierdie uitslike groot engines van tot 5,7 liter wat in die klas A jaag, daardie geraas maak wat amper oorverdowend is vir toeskouers hier op Kyalami, maar die Sapphire wat al reeds besig is om daai gaping groter te maak, dis Duxbury van der Merwe, Hepburn, Ben Morgenrood is daar, Iverage is voor Johan Coetzee. En dit is waar die belangstelling gaan wees in hierdie wedren vandag. Die algehele Wesbank kampioen word vandag gekroon en dit sal of Johan Coetzee of Iverage wees. Johan Coetzee en Iverage wat tot dusver in al hierdie klasse die meeste klasoorwinnings behaal het. Dat dit gaan oor klasoorwinnings wat punte betref vir die Suid-Afrikaanse kampioenskap en Johan Coetzee en Iverage is die twee manne wat daar om 'n stryd gewikkel is om die Suid-Afrikaanse algehele Wesbank gemodifiseerde sedan motorkampioenskap. Maar die aandag is hier op die voorlopers en dis die Sapphire, die Ford Sapphire turbo aangejaagde motor van Graham Duxbury wat die voortou geneem het. Sarah van der Merwe wat so klein bietjie verder terug is en die motor nuwe bande gekry. Hierdie motor wat natuurlik soveel belangstelling gaande maak dwars oor die wêreld. Willie Hepburn is baie kort op die hakke van Sarah van der Merwe. Willie Hepburn baie naby aan Sarah van der Merwe as hulle aan die einde van die eerste ronde kom. Ons sal vir die volgende gees as hulle by ons verbykom. Groot klomp mense wat vandag kom kyk na hierdie somerwedrenne hier op Kyalami. 'n warm somersdag en dit is kokend warm in daardie motors se kajuite. In die eerste ronde is dit Graham Duxbury en die Sapphire Ford. Tweede is dit Sarah van der Merwe en die Audi Quattro. Vierwiel aangedrewe motor turbo aangejaag. Net die twee turbo aangejaagde motors hierdie, dis die Sapphire en die Audi. Net agterom is dit Willie Hepburn, V8 5,7 liter engine uit die NASCAR wedrenne in Amerika. Willie Hepburn in die derde plek in daai groot Opel rekord. En net agterom die ander klas A motor. Groot jammerte van Tony Viana, maar die vierde plek op die oomblik Ben Morgenrood. Daardie motortjie vir hom dubbel rotor engine. Die Mazda 323 gemodifiseerde motor en hy is een van die manne wat daar by die voorstes bly dwars deur hierdie wedrenne. En ons het vir Tony Viana onder by Graham Cooper. Kom ons hoor wat is die storie daar, Graham?
All right, with me in the pits now, Tony Viana. Unfortunately, your guys tried to fix the motor car, but once again, when you came out on the flying lap, there was still an oil leak. Is this the last time this year, this race as such? What are we going to see you in next year, Tony?
Well, it's very difficult. I've been trying very hard. It's been a very difficult year for us. The opposition is very stiff. They've got a lot of horsepower, so we have to hunt it with small power. But it's sort of, this race would be like, because of 12 laps, would be the guy that can last the tyres. And I thought, oh, well, this is my race today. Unfortunately, I went off, spilled on the oil, broke some pipe and we repaired it, but unfortunately it wasn't good enough and it came off again.
Well, I'm sure that we're going to be seeing Tony Viana next year. They've got a lot of time to do homework. Tony, all the best of luck.
Well, there you have it from Tony Viana. Great pity that he's out of this race, but the mighty machines of the Wesbank Racing are in action with a vengeance. And Graham Duxbury, a turn-up for the books, a lot of hard work by Bernie Mariner and the Ford team, and they are in the front there, and they look like they're pulling away. Sorrel hasn't got an answer for it, but it's early days yet. They've only completed 2 laps. They've got another 10 laps to do, another 39 kilometers to go. That's the big V8 that brings all the customers in to hear that machine in action. And here's the popping, squeaking Ford. It's a Ford Sapphire, the Sasol Ford Sapphire. There's Willie Hepburn now, that little man driving that big motor car to great effect there as he slides it all over the circuit. We've got massive rubber there in an attempt to get something like 640 horsepower onto the road. Just behind him, he's got Ben Morganrood, and behind him, Ivor Roche is leading Johan Coetzee. Then is Brian Bezuidenhout in the Skylines. They're very prominent in this form of racing, the Nissan Skylines. And then the class champion last year, Dick Sorensen, is lying in 8th position at the moment. So there he is in 3rd position. That's Willie Hepburn. As into the far distance goes the Sasol Ford Sapphire. They've got an answer to this one. They spent a season developing it. They've been testing it all over the country, and it looks very, very good indeed. Looks like Ford is back in racing with a vengeance in a big way. And in 4th position, we've got Ben Morganrood. There's Morganrood now a little bit on his own, and Roche now getting away from Johan Coetzee. Now the only hope is that Sapiro doesn't win Class C for Johan Coetzee to win this championship. But Ivor Roche, the Hyperspace Mazda from King Williamstown, is putting on a great show. Saul van der Merwe conserving those tyres. They've had special Goodyear tyres flown in from America to suit this motorcar. It's a 4-wheel drive. It pushes out a massive amount of horsepower. It's very fast out of the corners. They exit the corner. The Ford Sapphire is a 2-wheel drive car. It's a rear-wheel driven car, and it's also putting a lot of horsepower. Bernie Mariner went over to America. He got this more suitable, a much bigger turbocharger, which is more suitable for this track. But it's early days. The flames coming out of the exhaust is just behind the right-hand front wheel. Sorrell's exhaust exits just next to the passenger door there behind his number board. Already a new lap record. We're down under the 1 minute 30s. It's very fast in a saloon car down here as Willie Hepburn starts down this frightening hill, down the IGI hill, and Sorrell is starting to close. Sorrell is starting to put the pressure on. Sorrell is going for the front, and Duxbury's letting him pass. He's slapping the steering wheel in absolute frustration. Something has gone wrong there. These cars run very hot, but Duxbury looks like he's out of it. His race has run after 3.5 laps, and already they're starting to come up on the back markers. They're saying go around the outside, and Sorrell's in the front. So we'll have to find out from Graham Cooper in the pits what's happened to Graham Duxbury. He'll be coming into the pit shortly, that's for sure. But from leading for those 3 glorious laps, the Ford is going into the pit. Well, that's a great pity. As exiting there, Sorrell in the front there, where we've seen himself in this year. But that car's been hard pressed by that man behind him. Wee Willie Hepburn, known to his friends and others as Hubcap. And Hubcap is in there and coming on very, very strong indeed. He's been told to conserve those tyres as Duxbury comes into his pit. Let's have a look. There's Bernie Mariner going over to say what's wrong. It's left-hand drive. That's why he's talking in the passenger door. Those cars run very hot. You might have seen at the last meeting it was on fire. Anyway, it looks, they opened the door and it looks like that race is run. They're not going to try and repair the car. Let's have a look what happens down there. There's Graham Cooper waiting to talk to him, and we'll hear just what it is. So Saul van der Merwe comes up the hill, but here comes the challenge. That's Willie Hepburn in that Sabat Caltex Opel is coming up to challenge, and Willie conserving those tyres. Had a very good race down in Cape Town at Kyalami. He never gives up trying. You hear the squeaking there of that turbocharger of Saul van der Merwe. What an impressive machine. Of course, we mustn't forget a man like the Springbok, like Saul van der Merwe, the wheel, a very hard man to beat. But when he's pushing it hard, you can see going wide there on Continental Corner. So he's not taking it easy. This is no demonstration going on in the front. He looks in his mirror and he reads Sabat and he reads Caltex, and he sees a big Opel in the front there, and he knows it's coming there and charging, and Willie's closing on him. They're into the slower traffic already. Coming around National Panasonic Corner. We'll just see if Graham is going to be able to talk to the Ford team a little bit later. As Sorrell exits National Panasonic, and like a dragster coming out of that same corner comes Willie Hepburn, just tearing and putting rubber down on the road and chasing after Sorrell.
Ja, hier is die interessantheid van hierdie wedren natuurlijk, dat die turbo-aangejaagde motor van Saul van der Merwe glad nie gepenaliseer word weens die hoogte bo seevlak nie. En die normaal geaspireerde motors, die soos die van Willie Hepburn, het natuurlijk 17% minder krag as gewoonlik. Die ander ding wat natuurlijk ook kan gebeur is wanneer dat het so in die stadiger verkeer in beweeg, dan kan van die stadiger motors natuurlijk vir van der Merwe ophou en kan Willie Hepburn daarin slaag om nader te kom aan van der Merwe. Maar dit lyk nie of Willie Hepburn enige antwoord het op Saul van der Merwe sy motor se absolute brute krag nie. Jy kan sien hoe Willie Hepburn daardie motor se stuurwiel so skerp as wat hy kan daar in daardie baie moeilike Wesbank draai in beweeg, dan af in die pouvak, die EGI pouvak. Ons noem dit die mynskag, want dit is baie skerp afdraande daar. En dit is waar mense sommer baie moed nodig het om deur daardie draai te gaan sonder om eers aan die rempedaal te raak. 'n Ander interessantheid in hierdie wedren vandag, ons sien vir Pieter Lindenburg vir die eerste keer na lang ruk, terwyl ons na die uitslag kyk, na die posisie na 5 rondes. Coetzee en Raasch nog steeds daar gewikkel in die stryd om die klas B oorwinning. Is die verskyning van Pieter Lindenburg, waarskynlik die enigste renjaer wat ook aan kragbootwedrenne deelneem. Hy lê op die oomblik in die tweede plek in die internasionale Grand Prix kragbootreeks. Springbok kragbootjaar, en hy is ook vandag hier in aksie in sy BMW. En dis minder dat mense sien dat 'n man in 'n boot en op 'n motor en in 'n motorjag. Maar hier is die stryd besig om al warmer te word aan die voorpunt. Sarah van der Merwe nog steeds voor Willie Hebben in die tweede plek. Ben Morgenrood so bietjie teruggesak, bietjie nie, maar 'n hele entjie teruggesak. Ben Morgenrood en daardie Mazda 323, gemodifiseerde Mazda 323 met 'n buisraam bakwerk of 'n buisraam onderstel. En hy jaag met 'n engine wat 2 rotors het. Daar is sprake daarvan dat hy gaan probeer om aanstaande jaar 'n engine te kry met 3 rotors aan. Hy wil ontwikkel in hierdie stadium maar net so iets in die omgewing van 330 perdekrag in vergelyking met die 450 perdekrag na 600 perdekrag wat die voorste man het. Kom ons kyk wat is die storie met Graham Duxbury. Graham Cooper is weer eens daar onder in die kuipe gereed. Daar is 'n verteenwoordiger van Graham Duxbury se span daar onder in die kuipe en ons hoor by Graham Cooper oor na jou.
What we done in the pits, Bernie Mariner, the manager of the Ford team, what actually happened? He was lying so well in the lead there.
Well, we don't really know what's gone wrong. It's something inside the gearbox. Until we get it out and apart, I won't be able to give you any details.
Thank you, Bernie. And Graham Duxbury, not a happy man at this moment. So back to Roger and Hendrik.
Well, that's a great pity there for Bernie because they put so much work into that motor car. They've got a second one in the building, so we're going to see, or being built rather, we're going to see 2 of those cars out racing next year. We might be seeing 2 of these cars as well as coming up the street at a great rate of knots. With only 1 second separating him, there's Sorrel van der Merwe in the Audi and chasing him all the way, keeping the pressure up. Now the big thing is, can Sorrel's tyres last the distance? In Cape Town, he broke a drive shaft in the one race as he finished the race, and the second one after 3 laps he broke the drive shaft. But that could have been as a result of going off the circuit. And between the Class A's, you see now in Class B, we've got 22 seconds. But that's they're having a race all of their own at the moment. Ivarash is leading and he's walking away from Jan Coetzee, but lap records from Ivarash, so you can see just how hard he's trying. And then we've got another turn up for the books, is that Dave Repsol is getting away in his Toyota from Peter Lance. And Peter Lance, of course, is the Wesbank champion. And here they come down the hill. Coming down towards us. Sorrel van der Merwe, that's coming down the IGI hill. They swing into the left very, very fast. Lots of G-forces. And Hepburn is well placed in this race with 5 laps to go as they're going to Conti. Here come the others. There's the Ben Morgenrood car. That's Ben Morgenrood in 3rd position. And then we've got Ivarash coming down the road a little further. So that's the Autofit Mazda. A good handler. And here they come, and Willie's on his tail. Now the pressure's on. Sorrel can start looking in the mirrors now, where he's got overheating turbochargers or overheating tyres. This big V8, 5.7 litres of American NASCAR horsepower on his tail, and he wants past. Willie's starting to look for a place to pass. He's conserved his tyres. He loves to slide that big car. Lovely shot from our cameraman as they come past the pits. And it's under a second, as you can see, as they come past Nico van Rensburg, back in racing in the little Nissan Nexa. And they are trying as they go around Gans. They've got more traffic. There's the Fram Sierra of Pat Duckham just behind them as they come into traffic, and we're onto them. And Willie Hepburn is starting to choose a spot. He's starting to look for a spot. The turbocharged Audi, it's a 5-cylinder against the V8. It's a NASCAR motor. It's a Ryan Falconer motor. Can run 500 miles. That motor's never missed not one stroke. But it's the diffs that going through standard diffs that have always sidelined Willie. And he's onto his tail now. Sorrel can look at his mirror, but he's still got to get past him. He's a clever driver. He knows how to make an already wide car a lot wider. As they come up on Maritzburg's Pat Duckham, very fine driver as well in the Fram Sierra. He's lying second at the moment to George Bazano. Look at the speed. They go down to IGI corner. Now they're looking for a way past. And Willie's looking for a way past as well. Sorrel's trying. He's start going out to the far curving on the outside of Continental corner. You are trying very hard. And is Willie going to do it down here? They've got the slow traffic. There's cars all around them. Willie's going to try and sweep through in the inside. Sorrel knows how to keep him out. And Willie's got that tremendous power in the corner. Of course, he loses at this altitude where the turbocharged cars have got more of an advantage as they come out here. So very fast out of there. He loves to slide that big car. The flames come out of the side, and you can hear the squeaking of the turbo as he changes gear. 9 laps are gone, and Willie's looking for that place.
So pas verby die Pieter Lindenburg motor gekom. Hulle het reeds 'n ronde meer as hy afgelê en 'n Sarah van der Merwe en Willie Hepburn wat hier in 'n stryd gewikkel is vir die grote vlag. En wat gaan Willie Hepburn doen? Hy het die geleentheid gehad om dwars deur hierdie wedren verskoning te sien wat Sarah van der Merwe doen, waar hy sy moontlike swak plek het en waar hy geleentheid kan kry om verby te kom. En jy kan sien dat Willie Hepburn daardie motor van hom elke keer dwars deur 'n draai stuur en dat hy daar die dik rubberstroke van die agterbande af op die teer neerlê, soos wat daardie groot Avon bande probeer om vasklou vermoë te kry soveel as moontlik om nog by van 'n Merwe te bly. Nou is dit interessant om te sien wat die verskillende lyne is wat hierdie motors om die draaie neem van 'n Merwe en Willie Hepburn. En Hepburn probeer die binnekant, gaan hy daar aanslag. Gaan hy by van 'n Merwe verbydruk? Gaan hy daar aanslag? Hy teen aan hom en hy gaan aan die binnekant verby, maar van 'n Merwe die lyn. Willie Hepburn het daar geslaag om langs van 'n Merwe in te kom en hy het die lyn gehad, so van 'n Merwe die lyn gehad en daarom kon hy daar die voorste posisie van hom behou. Maar die skare wat daar gesit het hulle arms in die lug gegooi. Willie Hepburn en daardie groot Opel rekord is baie gewild, net soos van 'n Merwe, en daar is altyd 'n groot stryd ook in die onder die toeskouers op die paviljoene. Maar dis nog steeds van 'n Merwe en Hepburn en dit is hierdie stryd wat die skare op hulle voete het vandag. Verder terug is dit Iver Raas wat in die 3de plek is, Johan Coetzee in die 4de plek. Hulle het albei verby by Ben Morgenrood verbygekom. Ons weet nie waar Ben Morgenrood is ongelukkig nie. Hy het blykbaar van die baan afgetrek en Iver Raas op die oomblik in die 3de plek. Weer eens probeer Hepburn aan die buitekant, maar van 'n Merwe maak dit deur vir hom toe. Johan Coetzee 4de, Brian Besuitnout in 'n Skyline 5de. Dick Sorensen ook in 'n Skyline op die oomblik in die 6de plek. Larry Wolford in sy Skyline 7de en Paddy Driver, die ou man van wedrenne in Suid-Afrika, 36 jaar lank wat hy reeds races jaag in sy Mazda RX-7. Hy is op die oomblik in die 8ste plek, maar kom ons kyk wat gebeur. Dit is dit Mike Shapiro se motor wat hulle baie wyd druk daar so aan die buitekant van die eerste S. Ek sal baie vinnig uit die pad uitkom as ek hy is wanneer hierdie twee groot kanonne by hom verbykom. Maar is nog steeds van 'n Merwe en hy wys vir hom verby. Hy wys vir hom kom verby. Daar's 'n fout met van 'n Merwe se motor. Hy sê vir hom kom verby Willie. Daar's 'n fout met die motor. Sy motor gaan stadiger en ek wonder of dit dalk weer 'n dryfasprobleem is, Roger.
Well, I think it might be that, Hendrik. It's certainly the pressure going along there, but the pressure is on, and there's no doubt about it. Willie has planned that one so carefully. He's pushed it there that he kept the pressure. He was right on his toes. It's a pity that Sorrell's out this way, but he went out in Cape Town as well. Willie, in fact, finished with half the different piece. It was glowing white hot, as did Ben Morgan, who's in fact gone into the pit. So Willie Hepburn has now gone to the pit. I think he's just acknowledging that Sorrell let him come through. And these are old stages of racing these very powerful motor cars. I mean, 600 odd horsepower is the type of performance they put on the road. As they go into their last lap, it's going to be a great victory here in the final race of the season for this man, Willie Hepburn, hubcap to his friends. Charles van der Merwe is still in the picture. Here he comes down the road. He might have broken one drive shaft. He's got another 3 to go. You could hear it popping and squeaking as he came past the pits. But in Class B, it's Iver Rasch is a long way in his Mazda ahead of Johan Coetzee in the Gear Max Skyline. Brian Bezuidenhout's made a great comeback in that AMC Engineering Skyline. He's lying 3rd in the class. Dick Sorensen's next in his Sabre Skyline. Larry Wolford, his teammate, is next, and then it's Paddy Driver. Paddy's 8th. David Piper, I'm sure, remembers Paddy Driver in the Duckham's Mazda. And in Class C, there's the man who's leading the 1300cc class, and that's Johan Grundling, and that's going to give the championship to Johan Coetzee because Mike Sapira hasn't won this his class here today. And Willie still has Sorrell in the picture, but not meaning to challenge. There's no doubt about it. As he comes down, he's staying in the picture. There he is, that mighty machine. And the talk is that there might be 2 of these cars out racing next year. And he comes still going at a fairly quick speed, and he'll be finishing this race, a sportsman that he is. Well, the car's competitive Sorrell will certainly be in there and trying. So, as we say, the rumour is 2 of these cars out here next year, maybe to be driven by an international sports star. There might be 2 of these. There'll be 2 Ford Sapphires. There'll be the BMW. There's big excitement about some of the developments in the BMW camp. And cruising to the finish is going to be a popular win for this little man. Willie Hepburn comes through to win this race, and he'll power. He loves it also just to spin it in the road. That's what he does around the circuit. And just, they're the fans. They love it. That big, powerful American engine in this Opel record has come through to win this race. And there's the Audi coming through in second position. A great sporting performance there by Sarel van der Merwe. Not giving up, but he'll be pulling into the pits. He won't be doing that other lap. It could be a drive shaft or something going. We'll have to find out a little bit later about that. So Ivor Roche is winning Class B, ahead of Jan Coetzee. Brian Bezuidenhout's next in Class C. It's Dave Repsold. We haven't caught a glimpse of him with all the excitement up the front. There's the car standing there, he's okay. And John Wheeler flags in all the others. So it was, and George Bezuidenhout wins Class D ahead of that man there, Pat Duckham. So Willie Hepburn wins it. Willie Hepburn in the Sabat Caltex Opel record, ahead of Sarel van der Merwe in the Audi 500 Turbo. Ivor Roche in the Hyperspace Mazda winning Class B. Well, we've had great excitement. You're coming back to us a little bit later. We've had good races this morning. We might be showing you some of those. Otherwise, we're going to show you some more of the excitement.